Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're exploring a topic that, well, it really feels like it defines our era, artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
It's way more than just a buzzword, isn't it? It's reshaping, everything from our economy to global power dynamics.
Yeah, and sparking what some are calling the defining technological race of our time.
That's certainly the framing in the document we're diving into today.
It really is. This isn't just about cool new tech. It's about, global positioning, massive future advantages. The stakes feel big, like historical races for dominance.
And you really feel that sense of urgency in the document itself. We're unpacking America's AI Action Plan, which is this comprehensive White House document from July 2025.
Right.
And its core mission, it says it right there in the opening, is achieving and maintaining unquestioned and unchallenged global technological dominance in AI. Pretty clear.
No ambiguity there. And what's particularly striking is the vision laid out right at the start. Donald J. Trump is quoted directly.
Yeah. What does it say?
Saying that AI breakthroughs have the potential to reshape the global balance of power, spark entirely new industries, and revolutionize the way we live and work. It's painted as this completely unprecedented moment.
Wow. And it doesn't stop there, does it? The plan, it boldly envisions AI ushering in, get this, an industrial revolution, an information revolution, and a renaissance all at once.
All at once, yeah.
Yeah.
It's ambitious is maybe an understatement.
So to tackle that incredible scope, the plan is structured around three main pillars, these foundational pillars. First, accelerating AI innovation.
Okay.
Second, building American AI infrastructure. And third, leading in international AI diplomacy and security.
And weaving through all three of those pillars are these really crucial cross-cutting principles. Things like centering American workers, making sure AI systems are bias-free.
Right.
And trying to prevent misuse by, malicious actors. It's meant to be this whole roadmap.
Okay, so let's jump into that first pillar then. Accelerate AI innovation. The core idea here seems to be all about fostering private sector-led innovation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Developing and applying the most powerful AI systems globally.
Exactly.
But the plan kicks off, interestingly, by targeting what it sees as major blockers, which are regulations. What's the thinking there?
Well, that immediate focus on deregulation, it isn't just like a policy footnote. It really signals this fundamental bet by the administration.
I bet that.
That speed and private innovation, basically unburdened by too much oversight, are the fastest way to win this AI race. The core insight seems to be that they view regulations primarily as an impediment rather than, say, a necessary guardrail.
So they're actively trying to roll back things they see as hindrances. What are the actual steps? How does the plan say they'll identify and dismantle these barriers?
It outlines a few things. There's a request for information, an RFI, asking businesses and the public about regulations that might be hindering innovation.
Okay, asking people directly.
Yeah. And the OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, they're tasked with finding and repealing restrictive rules. The FCC is looking at state-level AI regulations, and the FTC is reviewing its own past actions to make sure they don't, quote, unduly burden AI innovation.
So it's a real push across different agencies.
Definitely seems like a comprehensive push for deregulation, yeah.
That focus on the private sector is crystal clear. Now, what about making sure the AI systems themselves reflect certain values, especially how they handle information and how they get used in government? What does the plan say about that?
Yeah, this is a really crucial point. While they're clearing away red tape, the document also focuses hard on how AI systems, particularly as tools for information, need to be built.
How so?
They need to reflect what it calls American values. The push is for these systems to protect free speech and be objective and free from top-down ideological bias, especially when the government buys them.
And how do they plan to achieve that?
Well, one key action is a proposed revision of the NIST AI risk management framework. That's a major guide for AI development.
Right, I've heard of that.
And the revision aims to, and this is a direct quote, eliminate references to misinformation, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and climate change.
Wow, okay. That's specific.
It is. And NIST is also tasked with evaluating AI models coming out of China, specifically looking for alignment with the Chinese Communist Party or any signs of censorship.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, here's something that sounds really interesting, especially for innovators, maybe smaller startups. The plan's big push for open source and open weight AI. Like, imagine AI models you can just freely download and tweak, like open source software. How does the plan see the value in that?
The plan really emphasizes that these open models have unique value for innovation, not just for startups, though, also for bigger companies and government adoption because they're more transparent, especially if you're dealing with sensitive data.
Okay.
And they're crucial for academic research, too. But beyond that, the plan explicitly says they hold geostrategic value.
Geostrategic, how so?
Well, it suggests they can help accelerate innovation across the entire U.S. ecosystem, maybe making it harder for adversaries to keep up if the tools are more widely available and adaptable here.
Gotcha. And to support this open approach, what practical steps are they taking? Are they just saying it's good or?
No, there are actions listed. They're looking to improve the financial market for large-scale computing power, like creating spot and forward markets for compute time, almost like commodities.
Interesting. Like trading futures on computing power.
Kind of, yeah. And there are partnerships with tech companies to give researchers access through programs like the NRR Pilot, that's the National AI Research Resource. Plus, a new National AI R&D strategic plan is being developed.
Okay, let's talk about adoption.
Yeah.
Because the plan seems to recognize that, building fancy AI is one thing, but getting people and organizations to actually use it is another.
That's a huge bottleneck, yeah.
Especially in like those large established organizations and critical areas like healthcare. There's distrust, regulations are complex, standards are missing. So what's the plan strategy to get people to try this stuff, to foster a try-first culture?
They're proposing these things called regulatory sandboxes or maybe AI centers of excellence.
Sandboxes, like a safe space to play with AI.
Essentially, yeah. Supported by agencies like the FDA and the SEC, it allows for faster deployment and testing of AI in a controlled way without immediately facing the full weight of existing regulations.
Okay, that makes sense.
And there are also efforts specific to sectors like healthcare, energy, agriculture to develop national standards. Plus, the DoD and the intelligence community are assessing how competitors and adversaries are adopting AI, sort of benchmarking.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, what about the people? The plan talks about the human element, right? Seeing AI not just as replacing jobs, but maybe complementing them, creating opportunities. It mentions a worker-first AI agenda.
Yes, that's a really central theme. The plan stresses that AI is expected to boost productivity, create whole new industries, and ultimately complement human work, not just replace it.
Okay, but how? What are the specifics?
Well, it points to things already done, like those April 2025 executive orders, one on AI education for youth, another on preparing people for high-paying skilled trades.
Right.
Looking ahead, the plan prioritizes funding for AI skill development in education and workforce programs. Think career and technical education, apprenticeships.
Practical training.
Exactly. And Treasury is supposed to issue guidance making it clear that employers can reimburse workers tax-free for AI training under Section 132 of the tax code.
That could be significant.
Could be. Plus, there will be labor market studies, an AI workforce research hub, and importantly, rapid retraining programs for anyone displaced by AI.
Okay, so addressing the potential disruption too.
Ew.
Now, it goes beyond just the digital world, doesn't it? The plan talks about AI enabling new innovations in the physical world, like autonomous drones, self-driving cars, robotics.
And transforming science itself. Accelerating discovery protein structures, new materials, even helping scientists form hypotheses.
So what kind of investments are planned to actually support that physical world innovation?
We're talking significant investments in foundational manufacturing tech through agencies like DoD, Commerce, Energy, the National Science Foundation.
Okay.
They'll also be identifying supply chain challenges, especially for robotics and drones, and investing in automated cloud-based labs for scientific research.
Cloud labs.
Yeah, allowing for faster experimentation. And federally funded researchers will have to disclose non-proprietary data sets, making more data available. There's even talk of a huge whole genome sequencing project for life on federal lands.
Wow.
Specifically to train biological foundation models. That's pretty ambitious.
It really is. Okay, the plan also stresses staying ahead in fundamental AI research, right? Discovering new paradigms, but also figuring out how these complex frontier models actually work. It mentions they're poorly understood, which sounds concerning for national security.
It is a big concern. Predictability is key in high-stakes areas. So the plan prioritizes investment in theoretical, computational, and experimental AI research, trying to get those fundamental breakthroughs.
In any specific initiatives?
Yeah, they're launching a DARPA program that's the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency focused specifically on AI interpretability, control, and making them robust against attacks. Basically, trying to make AI less of a black box.
Making it understandable, controllable.
Exactly. And building a robust AI evaluations ecosystem that involves NIST guidelines, supporting measurement science, and investing in AI test beds.
Test beds.
Yeah, secure places to pilot AI in real-world scenarios across different sectors: agriculture, transport, healthcare, you name it.
The vision also extends to government itself. AI making government more efficient, effective,
Mhm.
even transforming how the Department of Defense operates, both in warfighting and just back office stuff. What's planned there?
Well, formalizing the Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer Council, the CAIOC, for better coordination between agencies. Creating a talent exchange program to get specialized AI folks into government.
Bringing in expertise.
Right. Developing an AI procurement toolbox for agencies, and mandating access and training for federal employees on the latest large language models.
Getting the workforce up to speed.
Definitely. And for DoD specifically, it mentions identifying talent needs, setting up a virtual proving ground for AI and autonomous systems, automating workflows, and even growing senior military colleges into AI research hubs.
Okay, one last point for this pillar. Protecting the innovations themselves and dealing with risks like deepfakes. Malicious deepfakes pose, as it says, novel challenges to the legal system. Fake evidence, things like that. How does the plan propose to guard against this stuff?
Yeah, that's critical. It calls for collaboration between agencies, DoD, DHS, AISI, and the leading AI developers to protect the tech itself from cyber threats and insider risks.
Public-private partnership, basically.
Seems like it. It also highlights the Take It Down Act, which was championed by First Lady Melania Trump, aimed squarely at non-consensual deepfakes. And NIST is working on something called the Guardians of Forensic Evidence program to evaluate and improve deepfake detection tools.
Okay, wow. That was a lot just on accelerating innovation. We've navigated those ambitious goals.
Yeah, it covers a lot of ground.
But those innovations, those powerful AI models,
Yeah.
they need a foundation, right? A literal, physical place to run.
Yeah.
Which brings us perfectly to Pillar 2, second, build American AI infrastructure.
Right.
And it's almost mind-boggling when you think about the sheer physical demands of this digital revolution, isn't it?
Right.
We talk code and algorithms, but this is about concrete power lines, massive energy needs.
Precisely. AI requires entirely new infrastructure, factories for chips, huge data centers, and just enormous amounts of energy to power it all. The plan openly admits the current U.S. permitting system is a barrier.
A barrier to building fast enough.
Exactly. So it aims for speed while also making sure this build-out prohibits adversarial technology, keeping competitors' tech out of the core infrastructure.
Okay, that sounds like a monumental task, especially given how long big infrastructure projects usually take, all the permits and reviews. How does the plan actually propose to speed up that permitting process? That's often the killer, right?
It really is. So they're looking at establishing new categorical exclusions under NIPA. That's the big environmental law specifically for data centers, basically trying to fast track the environmental review.
Okay.
They're also expanding the FAST T41 process, which is already designed to streamline approvals for major projects. There's emphasis on speeding up permits under laws like the Clean Air Act, Circle A, the Superfund law.
So cutting red tape across multiple environmental laws.
Seems to be the goal. Also making federal lands available for data centers and power generation, and building in those security guardrails to ensure the whole AI computing stack uses American products, free from foreign adversary tech. They even mention a specific project, Permit AI, to use AI itself to accelerate environmental reviews.
Using AI to build AI infrastructure faster.
Interesting.
Which leads us to maybe the biggest physical challenge. The electrical grid. The plan directly confronts this, calling the grid the lifeblood of the modern economy and critical for national security with AI.
Yeah, I saw that. It notes U.S. energy capacity hasn't grown much since the 70s, while China's grid has expanded massively. So what's the comprehensive strategy it talks about? The power demands of AI are just enormous.
They really are. The strategy is broken into 3 phases. First, stabilize the current grid. That means preventing older power plants from shutting down prematurely, using backup power better, ensuring there's enough power available overall.
Okay, shoring up what we have. Second, optimize existing resources, using advanced grid management tech, upgrading power lines to carry more electricity, getting more out of the current system.
Makes sense.
And third, the big one, grow the grid for the future. And here, it specifically prioritizes reliable, dispatchable power sources.
Dispatchable meaning.
Meaning power you can turn on and off when you need it, like enhanced geothermal, nuclear fission, traditional nuclear power. And looking ahead, nuclear fusion.
So less focus maybe on intermittent sources like solar and wind.
The emphasis here is definitely on dispatchable because AI data centers need constant, reliable power, 247. Intermittent sources need storage to provide that, which adds complexity and cost. So the focus is on things that can run consistently. This phase also includes reforming power markets to better reward stability.
Okay, that's a major energy policy shift, potentially. Now, moving from energy to the actual chips, the brains of AI, the plan is pretty blunt. America must bring semiconductor manufacturing back home for jobs, tech leadership, supply chain security. What's the approach there?
Well, the Department of Commerce has a revamped GPS program office. The plan says its focus now is on getting a strong return on investment for taxpayers and cutting out extraneous policy requirements for projects getting GPS funding.
Streamlining the GPS Act funding, essentially.
Seems like it. And also integrating advanced AI tools into the semiconductor manufacturing process itself, using AI to help make better chips faster.
Right. And thinking about national security again, the plan stresses needing highly secure data centers for the military and intelligence agencies, resistant to most determined and capable nation-state actors. What does that involve? Building digital fortresses?
Pretty much. It involves creating new technical standards for these high-security AI data centers. That's a joint effort. DoD, the intelligence community, the National Security Council, and NIST-CAISI, the Commercial AI Safety Institute. And pushing agencies to actually adopt these secure, classified computing environments for their sensitive AI work.
Of course, all this building data centers, power plants, factories needs people, skilled workers, electricians, HVAC techs, all those high-paying trades.
Yeah.
How does the plan aim to get that workforce ready?
Yeah, good point. It calls for a national initiative to figure out which jobs are most needed. Then setting up industry-driven training programs with state and local governments.
Getting industry involved directly.
Right. Expanding early career exposure, like pre-apprenticeships for middle and high school students, updating career and technical education CTE programs, expanding registered apprenticeships, and using the DOE national labs for hands-on research training, connecting education to the real jobs needed.
Okay, last piece of this infrastructure pillar, cybersecurity. As AI gets more powerful, it can be used for cyber attacks and defense. So the plan talks about securing critical infrastructure and promoting secure by design AI. How?
It mentions establishing an AI Information Sharing and Analysis Center, an AI ISAC, basically a hub for sharing threat information. DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, will issue guidance on fixing AI-specific vulnerabilities. There's a big push for secure by design AI, using existing frameworks from DoD and the intelligence community as models, and updating the National Cyber Incident Response Playbooks, the CISO ones, to specifically include AI considerations, making sure defenses keep pace with the tech.
Right, okay, that covers the massive task of building the physical foundation. Now we get to pillar the third, lead in international AI diplomacy and security.
The global stage.
Exactly. This part is all about how U.S. AI dominance requires more than just being strong at home. It's about influencing how AI is adopted worldwide and making sure adversaries don't benefit from U.S. breakthroughs. It's about projecting that lead globally.
That's right. The plan is very clear. The U.S. needs to meet the global demand for American AI. That means exporting the full stack hardware, models, software, applications, even the standards to allies.
The full stack?
The idea is to prevent allies from turning to rivals, like China, for their AI needs. It's about fostering a global ecosystem that's aligned with U.S. technology and, implicitly, U.S. interests and values.
So it's like building an AI alliance around American tech. How does that happen in practice? Are there specific programs?
It involves setting up a program within the Department of Commerce to basically gather proposals for these full-stack AI export packages, then coordinating across a whole bunch of government agencies, the Economic Diplomacy Action Group, USTDA, Exim Bank, DFC, State Department to actually facilitate these deals, making sure they happen and that they meet U.S. security requirements.
Okay. The plan also wades into the messy world of international AI governance. It mentions all the different groups talking about rules, the UN, OECD, G7, G20. But it sounds like the U.S. has some specific worries about where those talks might lead. What are the concerns?
Yeah, the document flags concerns about potentially burdensome regulations coming out of these bodies, or maybe vague codes of conduct that promote cultural agendas the U.S. doesn't agree with. And there's also a specific concern about influence from Chinese companies trying to shape international standards for things like facial recognition or surveillance tech in ways that favor authoritarian uses.
So what's the U.S. response, according to the plan?
The Department of Commerce and the State Department are tasked with vigorously advocating for international AI governance approaches that, one, promote innovation, two, reflect American values, and three, actively counter that authoritarian influence in these global forums. Basically, playing offense in the standard-setting game.
Okay, let's unpack this next point because it sounds critical. The plan recognizes that denying adversaries access to the most advanced AI computing power is vital for national security.
Absolutely.
And it says the U.S. and its allies have near monopolies on key components. So how do they plan to actually use that leverage? It sounds like getting creative with export controls.
That's exactly it. They're exploring using things like location verification features built into advanced AI chips to make sure they don't end up physically located in countries of concern.
Like geofencing the chips.
Kind of, yeah. There's a new effort plan between the Commerce Department and the intelligence community focused specifically on global enforcement of chip export controls, tracking where things are going, looking for diversions.
Going beyond just setting the rules to actually policing them.
Right, and developing new export controls on smaller components, the semiconductor manufacturing subsystems, not just the big machines, to close potential loopholes, and using tools like the foreign direct product rule, and even threatening secondary tariffs if allies are caught backfilling sensitive tech to adversaries. It's about global alignment on these controls.
That sounds pretty tough.
Yeah.
Okay, shifting to another security angle. The risk from the AI models themselves. The plan notes that really powerful AI might pose totally new national security threats, better cyber attacks, helping design weapons, CBRNE weapons, it mentions.
Chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, explosive, yeah.
And since America leads in developing these powerful models, the risks we see in our models are kind of a preview of what adversaries might have later. So how do we evaluate those risks?
The strategy is to evaluate these frontier AI systems for national security risks in partnership with the companies developing them, getting an early look.
Okay.
At the same time, assessing adversary AI systems trying to find their weaknesses or any malign foreign influence baked in. And this requires talent, so it means prioritizing recruitment of top AI researchers into federal agencies, NIST, CASI, DOE, DOD, the intelligence community, and continuously building and maintaining these national security-focused AI evaluations.
Staying ahead of the curve on potential dangers.
Exactly.
And that leads to a really fascinating, maybe slightly scary final point here, biosecurity. What's fascinating is how forward-looking it is, connecting AI directly to global health and safety. The plan sees AI's huge potential in biology, finding cures, new industrial uses, but also warns it creates new pathways for malicious actors to synthesize harmful pathogens.
That sounds bad.
It's the classic dual-use dilemma, amplified by AI.
Right, so the plan calls for a multi-tiered approach. How does it aim to actually mitigate those biorisks? Two main things mentioned here. First, requiring federally funded research institutions to use DNA synthesis tools that have robust screening built in, checking the DNA sequences being ordered, and verifying who the customer is. Moving beyond just voluntary promises.
Making screening mandatory for federally funded research.
Yes. And second, convening government and industry to develop ways for these DNA synthesis companies to share data securely so they can better spot potentially fraudulent or malicious customers who might be trying to order dangerous sequences. It's about building safeguards into the biotech ecosystem itself.
Trying to prevent the misuse of these powerful new tools.
Exactly. Building safety into the process.
And there you have it. That's our deep dive into America's AI Action Plan from July 2025. We've walked through those three big pillars: accelerating innovation, building the infrastructure, and leading internationally.
It really lays out an incredibly ambitious vision, doesn't it, for securing America's future and leadership in this age of AI.
It really does. That line about an industrial revolution, information revolution, and a renaissance all at once, it certainly captures the scale of what they're aiming for.
This plan, it's a clear roadmap aiming for global AI dominance. It touches practically every aspect of American life, economy, jobs, national security, how we interact with the world. It paints a future where AI could bring incredible flourishing. But it also clearly demands constant vigilance, watching out for the risks, the challenges, the unintended consequences.
So, as you, our listener, consider this really comprehensive vision laid out in the plan, what do you think is the single most critical breakthrough, or maybe the most critical safeguard, that will truly define whether this AI race succeeds, not just for one country, but for all of us? Something to think about.